See something about audio somewhere?
Um, did we get a lot? Oh, wait.
It's starting.
Yeah, but it always doesn't
There,
show
right
it.
here. Right
Okay.
here.
Microphone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're on. Yippee. Happy Saturday, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Oh, that's right. Feel like that's been a while ago. This is
Yep.
Christina Rue from HLC Bookkeeping and Office Services.
Yep. And this is Krista Rue from the same.
Yep, that's who I am.
Who she be?
Alrighty, so we are here every Saturday 2ish on Facebook, just to give everybody tips and information where you live, work, and worship, because that's what we do at HLC Bookkeeping and Office Services. So we will talk about your work life, your spiritual life, your home life. And we sometimes talk about things from all three, things from all business, things from all spiritual. I don't know if we ever did an all spiritual one. That might be something we'll talk about. But
Okay.
anywho, welcome.
All right. Well, funny you said. Well, let's recap last week.
Mm-hmm. Krista keeps us on track. If you're new, Krista keeps us on track.
All right. So last week we talked about New Year's Eve traditions around the world. Polka dots, eating grapes, using round fruits.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Then we also talked, number 2 topic was common sense, or the lack thereof in this world.
Yeah.
Number
common sense. I'm blocking the tree. Doesn't seem right. I should go over here. This is our last little thing with the tree.
That's right.
Because we celebrate Epiphany on Sunday.
That's right. So, and then number 3 was we ran through all the surprise topics. Mm-hmm. So got all of those done for
yes,
people.
we did. Yes, we did.
And we forgot to do the quick tips, so I put it on for today.
Yes.
The QuickBooks quick tips. Okay.
Because we're QuickBooks Pro Advisors. That's why we do a QuickBooks quick tip.
All right. So today's solutions, this is the first week of the month. So the first week of the month, we focus on professional education or things that will improve your mind. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about devotionals. No matter what religion you are, you have to stay rooted to your faith. It's what makes life so much sweeter when you can see the Creator in your life. One of the books that a friend of mine gave me a few Christmases ago, Deep Rooted in Christ, The Way of Transformation, and I apologize if I say this wrong, Joshua Chunmin Kong. And this is a very deep book, I must say. Now, there are other devotionals out there too, like The Upper Room, Guideposts, or...
Yeah, there might be some specific to your religion that are out there.
Right. This, I love it because the devotional is like 2 or 3 pages, but you think about it the entire day. So I like that. It's staying in my mind. I'm looking for what I've read about, and it makes my life richer. And that's what your devotional should do. Because when you see grace in action, it's beautiful.
Yes, it
absolutely beautiful. So, and I know there are a lot of stories in The Upper Room that amazing, just amazing. So just stay grounded in that for the year, because it'll be amazing what you see.
Yep. And with resolutions, because New Year's resolutions, everybody wants to improve themselves. This is such an easy thing to do. It just takes time. Time is something, it is not a renewable resource.
That's right.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
So you have to use it wisely.
Yes. Take a little time to make it a better world for you and those around you.
And you want to put things in your head that make you better, not worse.
Well,
So choose wisely.
that can get us into the next topic, right?
Oh. This I read in one of my devotionals by Steve Childs, because I have multiple ones I do, just because I need it.
Is that the name you said?
No,
Oh,
it was in his devotional,
gotcha.
but he quoted a gentleman who writes books on business, Jim Collins, and good is the enemy of great. And I was like, what? What did good is good? But, and this is how I took it.
Because it kind of stops us from doing more.
Right. You're like, okay, that's good. Let's keep doing that. Or are we closing ourselves off to something that's even greater? So like I was like,
I hear.
That's something to think about.
As long as that doesn't take you to perfection paralysis.
Yes, that's it. Analysis paralysis.
Well,
is what I always say. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes people like if it's not perfect, they won't put it out. No.
Yeah, you absolutely want things to be good. And yes, we are always striving to be great. I sort of took this as a little ding ding. Look at what you're doing, because sometimes we get stuck in that rut.
And we forget striving.
This is good stuff.
We don't move on.
Stuff. But if we don't re-educate ourselves,
get further in
all the time, are we ever moving too great? Are we stuck in the busyness versus the business?
Yep, which we've talked about before.
Yes.
If you take the word busy and want to put the ness at the end, like goodness, greatness, busyness. Busyness spells business. Sometimes we keep ourselves in busyness.
Right. Are you keeping
instead
yourself
of business?
Too busy to really engage in what you should be engaging in?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just that time of year I like to reflect on this stuff. Like, how do I improve myself? And this one just, good is the enemy of great. I was like, that's a thinker.
It is a thinker.
Yeah. So put your stuff in your comments of what you guys think that means. Because I was like, that is really interesting. And another way of looking at it that Steve Childs said is, are we doing instead of being?
Because sometimes it's easier.
Right. If I'll
work
just do it.
Is easier than worship when it comes to spiritualness.
Right. You sing in the choir. You teach Sunday school. You're so busy on Sunday mornings that you get home and you're exhausted. Have you heard the word?
Did you worship?
Right.
Yep.
Sometimes you just have to be.
Nice. These are pretty deep for a Saturday.
That's where I am today.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Next week she can pick the topic. But I was just like, these are good things to be thinking about.
Exactly.
Because it's okay to work on yourself. So many times we're like, oh, we're in service to others, which we are. But we also have to fill ourselves.
Correct.
So that we can continue to serve.
Yep. Refresh and renew always.
That's right. All right. And then the third topic I thought we'd talk about is virtual assistants, using these online people when you have a deadline, or temporary labor. Or
virtual assistants could be, if you're not right next door, how do I get the assistance I need? Right?
Correct. Because there's
not
a lot of things out there.
Assistance.
Right.
Because we offer virtual assistant to people in Texas, all over the world, really. So, like
Texas, Nashville, Florida, Belgium.
Yeah.
We've been everywhere and we've never left.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
but let's talk about the actual, if I'm hiring a virtual assistant versus temporary labor.
Right. And this could be someone who's taking your appointments, someone who's writing your blogs, someone who's doing your marketing or your online presence.
Yep.
The biggest thing is you better have a clear understanding of the time commitment you expect and the price.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times there's a disconnect and then people get shocked when they get that first
Right.
bill.
What's the accountability there?
Right.
Is it in a contract? Did you
Always
disclose that? If
contract.
it's hourly, did you put a cap on and say, call me if it goes over this? Like, how did you communicate that?
Right,
Because temporary
because
labor that's in your office, you're watching, you're there,
right.
or your
But
staff is
virtual,
watching.
you're not.
Right.
Right. So you just want to be very, very clear
Mm-hmm.
whenever you're using
And
that.
virtual assistance is considered subcontract labor on your books, not employee labor.
That's correct. So you're issuing a 1099 if it's over $600.
$600.
So you have to make sure before they start, they have a W-9,
Mm-hmm.
certificate of insurance.
And there's 3 things. Contract in place.
Well, yeah, contract. Yeah. Sorry. I said that at the beginning.
Yes.
But yes, those 3 things or it doesn't happen.
Correct.
You have to protect you as well as the business owners.
Yep.
And temporary labor, there's tons of agencies in this area that can help you with that. Because like we're going into our busiest time. January and February are insane. So I'm sure if you look at us now versus the end of the month, we're going to be looking a little rough.
Little haggard. Little tired.
So, so there is that too. But don't be afraid to ask for help. There's so many different ways. Your current employees, you can say, hey, interested in a little overtime? Because sometimes that's even easier. You don't have to train anyone.
It's true.
Yes, you're going to pay maybe a little more, but I bet you it'll be end up being the same.
It'll worth it. Yep.
That's right. So these are things to consider about. There's help out there for you. You just have to think in what form and what steps do I need to do.
Exactly.
To get there.
Absolutely.
So now our quick tips. One of the things, I was on site with a client and we were looking at their chart of accounts and she had everything alphabetical. And that's not how I think. Because I'm a bookkeeper. I want to see things in balance sheet order. So I said, well, we're going to change that. And I clicked
type,
and it put it in balance sheet order. And she was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You have to put it back. I said, I will when I leave. I said, but this is how I think. So this is how I can quickly go through things. And she's like, I didn't even know you could do that. And I'm like, QuickBooks is amazing.
Yep.
Because they know everybody thinks different. Some people think alphabetical. I think by type.
Well, and I think this goes back to your background.
Or by balance. You can even do it by balance.
You can. And like all the lists in QuickBooks are sortable.
Yes.
Even on the reports, you can sort. You can, just because it's defaulted to that doesn't mean you have to
use
stick with
that customize button.
I love the customize.
It's amazing what jumps out at you.
Yep.
When you're like, wonder if I could get a report that. Bet you can.
Yep.
But you got to take the time to play.
Absolutely.
So, but that was just one thing because that came up when I was on site at a client's.
Yep.
And
that's a good one because you're right. We kind of forget what all QuickBooks can do. That can be revolutionary because we're just in there doing our thing, and we don't always talk about that. So I think that's a great one.
Yep. So that's how we wanted to start out the year. Again, Krista and Christina Root, HLC Bookkeeping and Office Solutions.
Services.
Oh.
Services. Although we do provide solutions, that's not our name.
But this is Saturday Solutions.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's where it came. Your brain's all...
Maybe I'm a little rough already. I don't know.
Well, yesterday was rough. That's why. Yeah, we're not going to talk about it. We should talk about it, though. But I'm just going to talk about it from an employment standpoint because we lost a beloved pet yesterday. And so what do you do when an employee has to call off work because it's not a person, but it's somebody who's been in their family forever? So it's just something I want to throw out there because a lot of people don't give that grace knowing that pet's been around forever. So just something to think about. And I'm not going to cry. I put on makeup so I wouldn't cry. And so I'm just going to let that go. But as an employer, that is something to think about.
Right.
Because pets are part of people's families.
Right.
So.
Trust me, you don't want me here. After something like that.
No.
Absolutely not.
Nope. But she had a wonderful life, so God bless do it.
23 years. Yep. All right. Our email is office@yourhlc.
Website www.hlcbookkeeping.com. Funny topic on Facebook. After a heavy day like yesterday, I just was Facebooking last night, and somebody was interviewing Harvard students, and they didn't know what www stood for because it was before their time.
Oh my goodness. I feel
so I felt smart. Just saying. I was like, I know what it is. So anyway, I mean, because again, that's something these kids have grown up with the internet. For us, it was brand new and we kind of grew with it. So it's kind of funny how they just take it for granted.
Yep.
And don't really recognize what it stands for. And that's something we can talk about next week.
Sure.
How you just kind of get in the flow and not really realizing what you may or may not be supporting because you're just throwing it out there because it just is. Just is. So anyways, so have a wonderful Saturday. There was big fluffy snow out there. It was gorgeous. So let's hope, did it stop? Nope, still coming down. All right, so everybody have a blessed Saturday. Go Steelers. I'm in my black and gold, and we will see you next week.